Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Today we're going to take on the 2022 World Cup bidding announcements that happened yesterday. And, of course, the winner was Qatar, if you're George W. Bush, and it's Qatar if you're somebody else. Anyhow, I'm going to get right to it, Brett, and I'm going to let you not do so much a counterpoint, but your own rant, because I am going to rant here. I'm going to start out by saying, okay, why not Luxembourg? You know, I know they didn't actually have a bid, but what is a country like Qatar going to do with 6 to 7 Olympic Lego stadiums that they plan to build? They say they're going to tear them down and afterwards and donate them to lesser nations, probably like England or the United States. Let's hope no one gets hurt or injured, however, when one of these, you know, collapsing temporary Lego air-conditioned stadiums falls apart. But 1.7 million people live in this country. They've never even qualified for a World Cup. They're 208th in the World Cup. In short, they're a god-awful soccer nation. Their strikers can't hit empty nets from 5 feet out. The country's 45 miles wide and 140 miles long. Are the stadiums going to be built across the street from one another? And what about drinking beer? We're all worried about that. Qatarians apparently don't partake and frown on alcohol. And I'm supposed to go through, I guess, the whole World Cup in 2022, going through withdrawals, I guess. But what happened to the FIFA bylaws that required all World Cup hosts to be self-proclaimed beer-loving nations, or at least alcohol-welcoming? And will the religious thought police arrest me for drinking a Heineken in front of the Doha temporary Olympic Lego Stadium number 3 and then banish me back to the States, or will I just get sort of an old-fashioned whipping? You know, maybe FIFA really wants a Middle Eastern nation to host a World Cup that badly, Brett, but you don't just take the first schmuck dressed like an Arab prince, smelling of petroleum that you have, and what you do is you actually wait for the right Middle Eastern nation to ask to host the World Cup. Maybe someone who's actually qualified for the World Cup before, like Kuwait. Maybe. That's just an idea. Is that too much to ask? Wait for them to bid. Until then, I'm sorry, but this was just a catastrophe of a pick to me. Smells bad.
Yeah, I can't really disagree all that much with anything that you really ranted about there.
And I've got more ranting to go.
Yeah. Why they were picked, in my book, has nothing to do. I mean, it probably were interested in having a World Cup in the Middle East, but in my opinion, I don't think that's exactly why they were picked. Yeah. And I'm not going to get into much there.
Right.
You had two countries that were picked that had the money to drop, you know?
Yeah.
And as far as the stadiums go, I'm not certain I like this idea of a temporary stadium. Yeah. I know it's been done before, perhaps a couple stadiums at most, but they're proposing 12 stadiums.
Yeah.
3 of which are either readily available or they need renovation, and then the remaining 9 are going to be these temporary stadiums, or at least a handful. Most of them are going to be temporary. They might keep some of them around, but this idea of this temporary stadium, I mean, could you imagine how much it's going to cost to build all these stadiums, tear them down, ship them to wherever they're going to donate them to, and then have them reassembled? It is mind-boggling how much that's going to cost. Obviously, we know the oil to ship it's going to be free, but I mean, outside of that, it's insane. It's a waste of money, although it's not really FIFA's concern, because FIFA's going to bank on this, and I applaud them for wanting to have having a World Cup in the Middle East. It needs to happen there because, you know what, soccer does bring nations together. It does bring at least some level of peace to where nations that might not get along with each other can get along with each other.
Well, you hope that's the case.
Not saying that will happen.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
But I agree with your fact that you wait for the right opportunity. This isn't necessarily the right opportunity. As you said, they haven't qualified for a World Cup. I mean, what's going to happen? come 2022? Are they going to train an entire squad of 12 and 13-year-olds right now to do nothing but play soccer
Brazilians.
all the way up?
Yeah.
Or are they going to nationalize people? Yeah, that's my other thing. Yeah. So it's an odd decision. As far as the alcohol goes, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Whether or not they continue to have a ban on alcohol where you can actually purchase it, you can't drink it. You can actually get arrested and go to court for drinking it.
Right.
Which just seems strange to me. Why would you be able to buy something but not be able to drink it or use it or whatever?
Yeah.
Odd. My guess is with all of FIFA's little bylaws for people who are bidding for the tournament, they probably are going to allow alcohol to be sold at the venues.
We'll hope.
And a friend of ours brought this point up. But my guess is that FIFA's had it mandated ahead of time that you have to be able to sell alcohol to venues. But then what's going to happen afterwards? I mean, how many people are going to get arrested by going out and buying alcohol or trying to smuggle it in and drinking it? I don't know. It's such a queer opposition or situation we're in right now. So
yeah, I mean, you bring up some good points, but I guess the good news is that at least those stadiums are going to be made out of Legos, so it's going to be easy to transport them from one place to the other. But yeah, I mean, you're right. This team's got a long ways to go before they can even beat Kentucky Community College or whatever you want to call it.
12 years is a long time. I mean, it's possible that they could, if they really put the effort and the resources into training a good team, that they could have a decent team. But the thing is that
it'll be 80% Brazilian.
Yeah.
But
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Let's talk about whether or not the U.S. blew it or not. And I'm going to start out and say, so, the U.S. got pooped on, basically. I mean, we're not getting the Olympics. People don't like Americans. They didn't like George Bush, W., and they're not particularly that impressed, apparently, with Obama either, or Bill Clinton. They're not impressed with our declining economy. They're not impressed by the weak dollar. I'm talking about the guys on the committee. And the rest of the world just doesn't seem to be wowed by us anymore. And Clinton's speech, boy, did that drag on and on. I wish he would have finished already. I was thinking to myself, and you mentioned this earlier, and I'm sure that chick under the podium was thinking the same thing. Our presentations were just too full of happy words and inspiring sentences about diversity and moving the game forward in the United States. No one on FIFA, on that board, or across the world wants the United States to be a power in the sport of soccer. They don't give a beaver's pelt about our progress, and they just want our damn money. And we simply didn't flash enough dough. Our presentations lacked any creativity in my book. We all love Morgan Freeman. But don't you think FIFA and its voting members already knew we had a lot of diversity and a growing Hispanic population in the United States? I think everybody knows that already, so it wasn't a revelation from Morgan Freeman. So what I'm saying is don't go there and talk all this hippie, rainbows and unicorn stuff to me. Just show me the dough. That's what they wanted to see. They wanted to see new stadiums and sort of new ideas, grand theatrical plans to make it the biggest World Cup ever. But apparently a nation about the size of one of Diego Maradona's ass boils, but with 1/1,000,000th of his ass boils World Cup pedigree, and clout has won the bid to host the World Cup in 2022. And frankly, to me, it's just transparently a sellout. And I could have handled Australia winning. At least they play soccer at a higher level than, the Rhode Island Tech junior team. And, they've also qualified for some World Cups. And their players play all over the world. And they have more than one major city to build 7 stadiums in. But don't blame, all I'm saying to everybody out there, don't blame Galati, because this one was already in the books. Look at the voting. 11 votes already in the first go-round were for Qatar. This thing was preordained by Blatter and his minions. We had no chance.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. You brought the numbers at the end, and I was going to bring that up as my first point. Yeah. I believe USA started the first round with only three votes.
Sad.
Fortunately, Australia only had 1 vote.
Yeah.
I think they were out first. Then after that, we were basically second in charge. But you know what? it was always, always, always heavily favored in Qatar's favor. It's just the writing was on the wall, and you know what? Some people called it ahead of time. They're saying that the money that they're waving around is just going to sway the votes enough,
Right.
And to tell you the truth, I think that's what it was. Our presentation wasn't bad by any means. I mean, there were some points where it was long. You mentioned Clinton's, and I mentioned this when I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, there's still 6 more minutes left of this? Stop talking about Haiti and the earthquake and how we've donated money here and there. And it's all great if we're trying to build up our credentials as a nation, but you know what? People already know that.
Yeah.
People already know what they
do.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't need a lecture that long.
Right.
I mean, some of the things he said was nice, but my God, he just talked on and on.
You don't deserve a World Cup, really, just because you were in Haiti. That's kind of what got me about the Clinton speech.
Yeah.
That's not buttering them up. It's basically saying, look how much we've done for you. You have to vote for us. Blah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I thought Morgan's speech was fine, outside of the little gaffe where he misplaced a page. He starts talking. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I moved the page over here, and starts talking again. I'm like, oh my God, that looked awful.
Yeah.
Nothing that didn't hurt our chances by any means, because we never really had a chance.
Yeah, we never did. Yeah.
We were probably the clear second favorites, just simply because of the amount of money our World Cup would bring in.
Yeah.
But the difference here is that the money that we would bring in on ours is great for an economy standpoint, but it's not overall great for a FIFA standpoint. FIFA stands better to make more money at Qatar than they would in the United States. It's just how it is.
Yep.
Al Jazeera apparently reported that Qatar, the winner, hours before the announcement with those nice little notary signs from the Swiss, were opened.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Were they just guessing, or did they know something we didn't know?
They probably knew something that we didn't know.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Well, and you brought up the concept that one thing that might have hurt us is that we have the infrastructure, we have the stadiums, they're already built. But the thing is our stadiums are really more of a permanent style stadium that's going to last.
Yep.
Whereas you've mentioned these Lego type temporary stadiums, they are going for flash and flare, and they're going to make this World Cup amazing looking, and it's all about the look of the World Cup. It's all about the flash. I mean, I showed you the YouTube link for the presented first 5 stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, let's see, the first one was like the seashell. There was a boat, an oasis, a TV, and they are nice. They're nice looking, and they're going to be nice to see on TV, but there's just nothing we could do in the States without outside of building more stadiums. Yeah, we don't need more stadiums. We could waste the money.
Yeah, we could have prettied them up if that's what they wanted. And maybe that's what they did want. They wanted flash and flare, and of course we didn't really present much of that. We just said, hey, you owe us this, and by the way, we got a lot of Hispanics in our country and a lot of other ethnic groups that will support all the teams that qualify, and it wasn't anything too impressive, and I don't really blame them. They did what they thought they were supposed to do. I don't think any of the people that traveled in our group were people that really knew FIFA that well. I don't think Morgan Freeman hangs out with Sepp Blatter quite a lot. I don't think Bill Clinton, hangs out with Sepp Blatter either. I don't know if all the people that presented, even Landon Donovan, really are in touch with what it takes to win a World Cup. But even if they were, we weren't going to win anyhow. Let's just face that.